Nvidia GeForce RTX 3070, excellent mid-range performance. The GeForce RTX 3070 is the third Nvidia Ampere GPU, and it continues the march of next-gen architectures. It's a sizable step down from the 3080, and has less than half the VRAM of AMD's RX 6800 series cards. However, the 3070 also costs less than AMD's new cards, and still has generally superior ray tracing performance, plus DLSS. With the 3060 Ti now here at the $400 price point, the 3070 isn't quite so endearing. It's about 10 to 12% faster, but costs 25% more. Of course, if you factor in the rest of your gaming PC, that extra $100 probably isn't too big of a problem. We do have some reservations, however. While 1440p and 4K gaming are totally possible, 4K at maximum quality often drops below 60 FPS. DLSS can fix that, if a game supports it, but ray tracing even with DLSS often means 40 to 50 FPS at 4K. We're also a bit concerned with the 8GB of GDDR6 RAM. Not only is that less memory on a narrower bus than the 3080, but it's clocked quite a bit lower. We've already encountered a few games where 8GB starts to be a bit limiting at maximum quality, and that's only going to get worse in the future. AMD's choice to put 16GB on its Navi 21 GPUs makes Nvidia's 8GB look even worse. If you want a fast Nvidia GPU for the lowest price possible, the 3060 Ti gets the nod. If you can fork over an extra $100, the 3070 is a reasonable upgrade. But if you've always wanted 2080 Ti performance but couldn't justify the cost, the price of entry has been slashed in half. AMD Radeon RX 6800, great 1440p graphics card with OK ray tracing. AMD's latest graphics cards are performance powerhouses, and the RX 6800 shows its stuff especially well when it comes to 1440p gaming. This new card performs exceptionally well in rasterization, which plays a big part in game graphics, and it can muscle out some seriously fast frame rates at 1440p. Thanks to its high VRAM capacity, you won't be likely to run into any shortage when it comes to frame buffer at 1440p. The fact that you can get excellent performance, paired with the visual quality of 1440p, makes the RX 6800 a strong choice for anyone that wants to enjoy the competitive edge high frame rates, without having to drop down to a 1080p monitor, or lower in-game graphics settings. And, since this card only uses 250 watts of power, it'll be an easier upgrade than the other new offerings from Nvidia and AMD. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080, the best graphics card hands down. Thanks to powerful next-gen Ampere performance and a competitive price, the RTX 3080 is an excellent pick for most people. It affords you the ability to choose Full HD, Quad HD, or Ultra HD resolutions at a high frame rate, and it delivers the extra features exclusive to Nvidia RTX cards like ray tracing and deep learning supersampling 2.1. It's much faster than the RTX 2080, and even beats out the RTX 2080 Ti in raw performance. There's no one true pick for everyone when it comes to the best graphics card, but if we're choosing what should suit most people based on performance and price, we have to go with Nvidia's GeForce RTX 3080. While AMD has undoubtedly cut into Nvidia's claim to the GPU throne with its Radeon RX 6000 cards, a few of which are included in this roundup, the top-tier option still belongs to Team Green. Not only does the RTX 3080 outperform last-generation GPUs, but it also delivers the extra benefits that make RTX cards so sought after. Ray tracing, the first main feature, isn't as widespread as many people would like it, but it's still available in popular games. And the RTX 3080 still includes dedicated cores for ray tracing. DLSS 2.0 and 2.1 is perhaps the more impressive feature that comes standard with this GPU. It employs dedicated tensor cores to run AI rendering in real time, effectively boosting frame rates while also making frames come out at a much higher resolution. Because ray tracing can be detrimental to performance, DLSS is the perfect pairing. AMD's new RX 6000 cards features ray tracing, but so far the hit to performance is far more severe compared to Nvidia RTX. With stellar 4K and 1440p performance that bests the RTX 2080 and RTX 2080 Ti, The new RTX 3080 is our pick for the best overall GPU for your custom gaming PC. Just make sure it's not overkill for your needs. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080 Ti, best for high refresh 4K gaming. There's a new Nvidia champion in town, and it takes power and performance to an even more accessible price point. Delivering RTX 3090 level performance, an impressive feat in its own right, the long-awaited RTX 3080 Ti comes with an even better price tag, making all that sheer power more accessible than ever. It continues what the RTX 3080 has started, to take 4K gaming into the mainstream arena, with its breathtaking 4K at 60 FPS performance, while slashing a few $100s off the steep 3090 price. It has a whopping 10,240 CUDA cores, giving it over a 17% increase over the RTX 3080. It also includes 2 GB of extra video RAM and boosts the memory bus to 384-bit, giving it an edge when handling large game assets. Despite the increase in performance, the RTX 3080 Ti maintains the same proportions as the RTX 3080, so you should have no trouble fitting it into your system if you're upgrading. This is the best graphics card on the market right now, especially if you care about ray tracing. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060 Ti, best bang for the buck graphics card. The RTX 3060 Ti includes all the benefits of RTX cards, and it costs the least money out of all the Ampere cards. It bests the RTX 2080 Super, making it capable of crushing 1440p and handling some 4K gaming. Budget PC builders are going to want to pay close attention to the RTX 3060 Ti, a GPU priced at about $399 under normal circumstances. Despite the bargain price, it bests the RTX 2080 Super in terms of raw performance for 1080p and 1440p gaming. That's mighty impressive, and it's likely going to be extremely popular for anyone who's not too interested in 4K gaming. Despite it coming later than the other RTX 30 series cards, you're still getting capable ray tracing and DLSS technology. This card isn't going to be as future-proof as the heavy hitters in this list, but if you can find one, and want to keep your wallet from catching fire, it should make a great choice. The RTX 3060 Ti is an exceptional GPU option if you're on a budget. It puts out better performance than the RTX 2080 Super, it's efficient, and it has the features you expect from RTX cards. AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT, best AMD GPU. AMD's Big Navi RX 6800 XT is a bit more affordable than the RTX 3080, yet it trades performance blows and doesn't suck up as much power. Its 16 GB of VRAM are great for future-proofing, and it has a number of included features gamers will love. Just remember its ray tracing abilities aren't as developed, and it's lacking DLSS. AMD's new Big Navi RX 6000 GPUs based on RDNA 2 technology bring a ton of power that puts them among the top options out there. In particular, the RX 6800 XT will generally perform as well as the RTX 3080 and 1440p and 4K games, with each card moving up and down based on other factors. The RX 6800 XT is also more power efficient, sitting somewhere between the RTX 3070 and RTX 3080. It has some impressive raw specs, including a whopping 16 GB of VRAM, that will set it up nicely for the future. If you're buying a new GPU today, and want it to last for the next 5 years, 8 GB of RAM doesn't look so impressive. One big advancement with these GPUs is the addition of ray tracing, something Nvidia previously could only offer. It seems that while the RX 6800 XT does have the option, it's not quite as good as Nvidia's RTX cards. Your games are going to look prettier, but you're going to see a more significant hit to performance on the AMD cards. Chalk it up to having more time to develop on Nvidia's part. It'll be interesting to see what AMD can do. Nvidia also has DLSS for compatible games, something AMD is still lacking. However, AMD does have something called Smart Access Memory that can boost performance in some games. Unfortunately, the gains aren't huge, and they're only available if you have a Ryzen 5000 processor and a 500 series motherboard. Want to overclock and not void your warranty? AMD's Rage Mode is another nice addition that will get the job done without harming your hardware. If you're on Team Red and want a GPU that can handle 1440p and 4K gaming, the RX 6800 XT is undeniably a great option, that also costs less than the RTX 3080. Team Red should love what the RX 6800 XT has to offer, including performance to rival the RTX 3080, at a cheaper price, and with less power draw. AMD Radeon RX 6600 XT. Good mainstream performance, weak ray tracing. The AMD Radeon RX 6600 XT isn't great value, but in a time when GPU options are so overpriced, that hardly matters. What matters for the RX 6600 XT is that it outperforms Nvidia's RTX 3060 by a decent margin, and it's cheaper. In an average of 5 gaming benchmarks, the RX 6600 XT offered about a 10% improvement over the RTX 3060 at 1080p. Across our benchmarks, it averaged 115 FPS, making it an ideal option for 1080p gamers with a high refresh rate display. It's simply one of the best 1080p graphics cards you can buy right now. Even in a game as demanding as Cyberpunk 2077, the Radeon RX 6600 XT can put up above 60 FPS with all of the sliders turned up. Except for ray tracing, of course, which remains one of the most demanding gaming tasks for a graphics card. The RX 6600 XT doesn't handle ray tracing as well as its Nvidia counterpart, but neither card is really cut out for it. AMD Radeon RX 6700 XT, best for high refresh 1440p gaming. The AMD Radeon RX 6700 XT slots in somewhere between the Nvidia RTX 3060 Ti and Nvidia RTX 3070 in terms of raw performance. It also costs more than the list price of the 3060 Ti, so you have to be sure you're looking for better power and not a better feature set. If you want to push high frame rates at 1440p and even want to dabble a bit at 4K, the RX 6700 XT will do a great job. While the RX 6700 XT offers ray tracing, its support isn't as good as Nvidia's, and you will likely see a harder hit to performance. This is true even though AMD's cards now have FSR, an alternative to DLSS. Bottom line? The 12GB of VRAM sets the RX 6700 XT up nicely for the future, and Fidelity FX Super Resolution is beginning to cut into Nvidia's DLSS technology. If you can find an RX 6700 XT close to retail price, it should make a great card for Quad HD gaming. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060, an excellent mainstream graphics card. The most recent addition to Nvidia's Ampere lineup is where the cuts to processing power might have gone too far. This is the first GA106 card, with a 192-bit memory interface and 12GB VRAM. But with 26% fewer GPU cores compared to the 3060 Ti, and less memory bandwidth, overall performance is only on the level of the RTX 2070. If you discount ray tracing and DLSS, the RTX 3060 ends up being roughly the same performance as AMD's RX 5700 XT. Not exactly something to set the world on fire, but then that's typical of mainstream parts. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3090, best graphics card for creatives. For some, the best card is the fastest card, pricing be damned. Nvidia's GeForce RTX 3090 caters to this category of user. At more than double the price of the RTX 3080, performance is only moderately better, 10 to 15%. It's basically a replacement for the Titan RTX. The RTX 3090 is likely to reign as Nvidia's top GPU for a while as well. It sports nearly a complete GA102 chip, based off the Ampere architecture, so there's not really room for a new Titan card. Nvidia has said as much as well, that the 3090 brings Titan-class performance and features into the GeForce brand. If you simply must have the fastest graphics card available, that's the RTX 3090. It's not just about gaming, of course. The RTX 3090 is the only GeForce Ampere with NVLink support, which is arguably more useful for professional apps and GPU compute than SLI. The 24GB of GDDR6X memory is also helpful in a variety of content creation applications. AMD's RX 6900 XT challenges the RTX 3090, and in traditional rasterization it's competitive. But if you want the absolute fastest graphics card right now, Nvidia wins, especially if you run games with ray tracing and DLSS enabled. AMD Radeon RX 5500 XT, great for 1080p gaming. Following in the footsteps of the RX 570 as a superb budget gaming card, the RX 5500 XT touts a full-fat Navi GPU. Powered by RDNA, AMD's gamer-focused architecture, the raw throughput of this card is enough to deliver high frame rates for competitive gaming and excellent numbers in the latest AAA titles at 1080p. While the old guard Polaris generation is lingering around, there's still something to be said for their comparative mainstream performance. But if you want a card that is prepared to take on any game you throw at it at 1080p, the cheaper RX 5500 XT is ready to go. It's also available in a more expensive 8GB model, but the 4GB version is still a fantastic graphics card in its own right, offering near 60 FPS speeds on high graphics in pretty much every big game going, and 60 FPS plus when playing on medium. AMD Radeon RX 5700, the best graphics card for most people. The launch of the 5700 series of cards is a landmark moment for AMD, which has been struggling to find its footing in the graphics card market in the face of Nvidia's dominance. While its previous RX cards have been aggressively priced and allowed AMD to maintain a foothold in the budget space, the mid and high tier range has been all team green for the past generation. The 5700 and 5700 XT radically changed that dynamic. In them, AMD has a card with the price and performance to genuinely challenge Nvidia's RTX offerings, not in small part due to the last-second price cut AMD announced just before launch. At $349, with performance exceeding that of the vanilla 2060 by 10% or more, the 5700 is an excellent value, even in the face of Nvidia's super counterpunch. While the 5700 may lack marquee features like ray tracing or deep learning super sampling support, in terms of base performance at this price point, it's currently head of the class.